Happy New Year, Guardians, and welcome back to Guard Guides. This will be the updated 2025 version of how to pass the Unarmed Guard Exam. As always, I need to start with a disclaimer. Remember that exam details vary by state, county, and city due to specific laws and regulations. This video provides a general overview, but always check with your local agency for the most relevant requirements. So, without further ado, section 1 is going to be multiple choice questions. Number 1, what is the main goal of a security guard in preventing incidents? Is it A, detain any suspicious individuals, B, assist customers, or C, protect people and property and respond to alarms as needed? If you guessed C, you guessed correctly. Although assisting customers is an important integral part of security work, that is not the main goal of security work. Is to protect people, property, and respond as needed to issues that arise of a security nature. Number 2, under what circumstances can the security guard legally hold someone suspected of stealing? Is it A, only based on personal suspicion, B, never allowed to hold anyone, or C, when protocol allows within legal and company guidelines? Once again, if you guessed C, you are correct. It's going to differ by state, by city. It's going to differ based on the local laws and the policies and procedures you are tasked with following for your company and your client. It's not a one-size-fits-all, so always defer to protocols and policies as well as local laws. Number 3, when a fire alarm is triggered, what should a security guard do first? A, verify people are evacuating and investigate if safe. B, ignore the alarm. Or C, evacuate yourself immediately. The answer is, of course, A. You need to verify that people are evacuating because they'll often stand around looking confused as to whether the alarm is real or not. Your goal is to get them out of there safely and investigate the fire or the location of it if it is safe for you to do so. Your safety is first. Number 4, what is the appropriate action if someone accesses a restricted area? A, immediately escort them off the premises. B, verify their authorization and follow procedure. Or C, avoid confrontation. The answer in this instance is, of course, B. You want to verify their credentials and whether they are authorized to be there or not, and follow the procedure for your site and your company. Number 5, which of these is a key deterrence method for security guards? A, only using surveillance. B, visible patrolling, staying alert and reporting. Or C, staying hidden to catch criminals by surprise, like a ninja. It is B, visible patrolling, staying alert, and reporting issues as they arise, as well as your hourly and normal activities. Number 6, how does the security guard's visibility impact crime prevention? Is it A, significantly, as it reduces unlawful activity? B, only at night, when criminals are most active? Or C, there is minimal impact regardless? The answer is, of course, A, significantly, as it reduces unlawful activity. Just your presence there and your being visible by anyone who seeks an opportunity to commit a crime or violate a policy, it will be reduced just by your presence because they know someone is there. If not to actively prohibit them from doing it, they will be reported on, and someone who can penalize them will be notified, so they won't do it, or they're less likely to do it. Number 7, is it acceptable for a security guard to pursue a fleeing suspect? A, always pursue. B, never pursue. Or C, pursue only within property and company policies. Again, there's really no one-size-fits-all answer, but I would say in general, as a security officer, Follow your company and client guidelines, but remember, your safety is of the utmost importance. You do not know that person who is fleeing. You do not know if they are armed or not. You don't want to put yourself into a situation where you're pursuing them and you end up being hurt. You could be shot or you could be stabbed. I would err on the side of caution, get their description, their direction of flight, and notify the proper authorities who can handle it. But again, this may vary. In some sites, you are required to pursue. But again, this is just my opinion. Number 8. What is a security guard's main role in access control? A. Manage entry and exit, allowing only those permitted. B. Allow entry based on judgment. Or C. Permit access without checks. The answer is, of course, A. You're managing entry and exit, allowing only those who are authorized to enter to be permitted entry. Pretty simple. Number 9. How should a security guard handle a disruptive individual? A. Use force immediately. B. Approach calmly and try to de-escalate. Or C. Ignore and hope they leave. Now, I would say it is B. You want to approach them calmly and attempt to de-escalate the situation. Communication is always key, and that is always your best weapon. So, number 10 is managing vehicle access within a security guard's duty. A. Yes, when the vehicle is required on property. B. It's only a police responsibility. Or C. Applies only to pedestrian control. I would say the answer is A. When vehicle control is required on property by your specific site and or company. If that is a duty you are given, that is a duty you are required to complete. Number 11. What records should a security guard maintain for access control? Is it A. No documentation. B. Times of entry, exit only. Or C. Full logs, ID checks, and incidents. The answer is, of course, C. You want to maintain full logs, ID checks as appropriate, and document any incidents that occur for your records, for your clients, and for your companies. Number 12. What is a security guard's role in enforcing policies? A. Enforce policies only in emergencies. B. Modify policies at your will. Or C. Enforce all policies and procedures as required by the employer. This should be self-explanatory. If your employer has a policy and procedure you must follow or must be enforced, that is what you are there to do. That is literally your job. Number 13, do security guards have police powers? Now, this one has some nuance in it. There are actually some cases in some states where security guards do have, if not full sworn police powers, they are able to enact some police powers, for instance, of arrest without being at risk of getting in trouble themselves. But again, these are very rare instances. Maybe something like infrastructure or nuclear power, nuke guards, or peace officers, but that's very rare cases where that's the case. For in general, security guards do not possess police powers. Those are reserved for sworn active duty police officers empowered by the state. So is it A, only on the property they secure, B, same powers as police, or C, limited to enforcing employer policies and deterring crimes? If you heard my introduction to that question, you already know the answer is C. Number 14, how should a guard handle a policy violation? A, ignore minor violations, it's no big deal. B, immediately intervene physically. Or C, document, report, and follow procedure. Again, your role isn't to ignore it. Your role isn't to immediately escalate it. Your role is to follow policy. In order to do that, you of course want to report it to the necessary parties you need to report it to. Document that it's happening for records and follow the procedure as it was given to you to follow. 15. When is a citizen's arrest permissible for a security guard? A. Any suspected crime. B. Only for observed felonies. Or C. Never allowed. In my case, in New York, it is only for observed felonies that are in fact committed, not conjecture, not speculation, not somebody told you it happened, you saw it happen, and it indeed happened and was a felony. This may differ by state or jurisdiction, which once again, I put that disclaimer at the beginning of the video, telling you to follow the procedures based on the location you are in. So, number 16, can a security guard face legal issues after a citizen's arrest? A, yes, if protocol isn't followed. B, there is no risk involved. Or C, only if the person doesn't confess. The answer is, of course, A. A citizen's arrest has several procedures that need to be followed and need to be completed in order for it to be a legal citizen's arrest. If they aren't followed, if they are skipped, if they are negligent, or if you are not able to articulate why you did what you did or why you skipped the protocol in that process, then yes, you can definitely face legal issues, whether civil or criminal. So be careful with using citizens' arrest powers. Number 17, what perspective should security reports be written in? A, second person, B, first person, or C, third person. The answer is B, first person. You are the person writing it. It should be written from your direct perspective. 18, what should reports emphasize? A, facts only. B, hypotheses and theories. Or C, personal reflections. The answer is, of course, A, the facts only. That's all that matters. Number 19, which extinguisher type is best for grease fires? Is it A, water, B, CO2, or C, wet chemical? The answer in this case is C, wet chemical. There is a type of fire extinguisher, which is a combination which can be used on multiple types of fires, including grease fires. The label will let you know which type of fire it can be used on. Number 20, for electrical fires, what is the safest extinguisher? A, foam, B, dry chemical, or C, water? The answer is, of course, B, dry chemical. Number 21, what is the first action in a shooting event? A, run, B, hide, or C, engage? The answer, of course, is run. Run, hide, and fight. The 3 steps typically given in an active shooter event for people who unfortunately are in one. Number 22, if escape is impossible, what should you do? A, negotiate, B, hide and barricade, or C, surrender? Again, run, hide, fight. If running isn't possible, which is escape, you're going to hide and barricade, B. Number 23, when is it acceptable to use force? A, anytime a threat is suspected, B, only as a last resort, or C, if non-compliant? The answer is B, force is only to be used as a last resort to prevent harm to yourself or others. Number 24, what should be reported after using force? A, nothing, B, incident details to supervisor, or C, only if you're asked? The answer is B, the exact incident details to your direct supervisor. Number 25. What should you do to expand your knowledge of security, advance your career, earn more money, and find networking opportunities? Is it A, visit Beacons.ai/guard guides for professional resources? B, visit Etsy.com/shop/guard guides for ebooks on passing various security exams? C, check out our Guard Guides subreddit to learn from other security professionals? Or D, all of the above? You guessed it, the answer is D, all of the above. Number 26. What is a key factor in using minimal force as a security guard? A, you should only use as much as necessary to manage the situation. B, enough to render the person unconscious so they are no longer a threat. Or C, decide based on the guard's physical strength. The answer is, of course, A, only as much as necessary to manage the situation and no more. Otherwise, it may be an excessive force situation. You don't want to put yourself in that situation. Number 27. Which aspect should be documented after a force incident? A, who was involved. B, only details requested. Or C, just a summary. I would say the most important aspect is A, who was involved. Number 28. What's a main reason for visibility during patrol? A, to catch someone. B, observe only. It's to observe. You need to observe situations and observe the area for any issue that may arise so that you can report on it. Number 29. How often should CPR compressions be? A, 50 per minute. B, 60 to 70 per minute. Or C, 100 to 120 per minute. It's a good idea to use the Staying Alive song to stay in line with the amount of compressions you need to do per minute. I'm not going to start singing it, but if you go listen to it, if you catch the beat, that's how many compressions you should be doing when you're doing CPR. Number 30. How should you approach someone acting suspiciously? A, observe from a distance. B, confront. Or C, ignore it. I'm going to say A, the first thing you need to do is observe from a distance and determine whether they are actually acting suspicious and follow up based on your site and your company's protocol. But you need to observe it first and confirm that it is indeed suspicious, indeed disruptive, or indeed a violation of policy or a crime. Number 31. What is key to de-escalate? A, command. B, calm communication. Or C, no interaction. I'm going to say, of course, the answer is B, communication, communication, communication. The more talking you do, the less physical stuff needs to happen. Number 32. Can an AED be used if someone is breathing normally? A, no. B, only after CPR. Or C, anytime. The answer is A, no. AED is only to be used if they have abnormal breathing or are not breathing at all, and hitching and coughing does not constitute normal breathing, in which case the AED can be used. Number 33. How should reports be structured? A, facts only. B, analysis. Or C, reflective. The facts only. Not your conjecture, not your opinion, not what you thought should happen, not what someone told you they thought they were thinking when they did it. The facts only. The facts as they are. The facts as they were presented to you. Number 34. When should you evacuate yourself first? A, only if ordered. B, when the situation presents imminent danger to your personal safety. Or C, after the alarm. The answer is B. Remember what I always say. Your safety is the most important. You don't want to be in a situation where you're trying to save someone, but you end up another casualty of that situation, another person that needs to be rescued. If the situation presents imminent danger to your personal safety, you need to evacuate. Number 35, how often should a security guard report? A, every 5 hours. B, only when issues arise. Or C, hourly or as policy dictates. Typically, at least in my experience, you need to add something into your activity report or your activity log once an hour. Now, if your policy dictates it needs to be done every 2 hours or 5 hours, you're going to defer to policy. But typically, in my experience, it's been hourly. So now we're going to go to some true and false questions. So number 36, guards are legally allowed to carry firearms by default. I'm going to give you some time to think about that. Think thoroughly. Are guards legally allowed to just carry firearms by default? By default meaning no license, no registration, no training, on duty, off duty, policy allows it, doesn't allow it. The answer is false. Typically, guards are not legally allowed to just carry firearms. Number 37. A guard's main role is to apprehend criminals. The answer is, of course, false. That is not your main role. Your main role is to observe and report. Number 38. Guards in New York can make a citizen's arrest if witnessing a felony. If you remember from before, and this may be an occurrence in the actual exam that you take, there will be answers within previous questions. So if you remember from a previous question, the answer, at least in New York, and I explained it, if witnessing a felony, yes, a guard can make a citizen's arrest. It needs to be done correctly though. It's true. Number 39, guards should intervene physically in every conflict. Now, I don't think you need too much time to think about that. It's a pretty obvious answer. Should you intervene physically in every conflict? Not can you, not would you, not could you, should you? The answer is, of course, false. Number 40, the Good Samaritan law protects guards who provide first aid. Go ahead and think about that. The answer is true. The Good Samaritan law protects guards and normal citizens who provide first aid because the intention is to save a person. Number 41. Reports must only include necessary info. Is it true or false? The answer is, of course, true. You include the necessary information, the facts, no extra details or opinions, the facts as they are. Number 42, security guards have full legal enforcement rights. Now, I think the answer is in the question there, which is another common occurrence in many of these exams and in other exams, some not security guard related. Security guards have full legal enforcement rights, true or false? The answer is false, because you are a security guard. You are not a police officer. Number 43, visibility only matters at night. Your visibility as a guard, that is. Should be fairly obvious. No, visibility matters no matter what shift you're on, no matter what time of day it is. You should be visible to deter policy violations or crimes. The answer is false. Number 44, guards are responsible for deterring crime. The answer is, of course, true. Your visibility and your presence deters crime, or it should, in theory. Number 45, physical confrontation is a last resort. The answer is, of course, true. Number 46, patrol logs are unnecessary. True or false? The answer is false. They are necessary for your protection, your records, your companies, and your clients. Number 47, citizens' arrests have no legal consequences. The answer is false. If they are done incorrectly, they can have legal consequences. Even if they are done correctly, you may be faced with questions from police officers and possibly lawyers of the person whom you arrested to verify and validate that it was indeed a legitimate citizen's arrest that was conducted. Number 48, Good Samaritan law applies to first aid. The answer is true. When you are providing first aid, the intention is to help someone. Good Samaritan law protects you from any liability, as long as you don't do anything to intentionally worsen the situation. Number 49, guards should write in the second person. True or false? The answer is false. It should be written from your perspective, first person. You're the one writing the report. Number 50. Reports include personal opinions. True or false? The answer is false. It should include facts only. No personal opinions. Nobody cares about your opinions. They only care about the facts. Now we are going to go into a few scenarios. So before I go ahead, the disclaimer for this is you need to defer to your specific company or site policy first. I'm only providing a general guideline and overview of how I believe these situations should be resolved. If your company, site, client, or policies dictate otherwise, you always defer to them first. So let's get started. Number 51, the VP conundrum. A new VP of finance tries to skip ID check on his first day, citing he has an urgent meeting. Do you enforce the rules or make an exception? What would you do? This is a possible solution to it. I would explain to him that the policy requires all persons entering to show their ID, regardless of title or urgency of entry. If he continues insisting he be let in without showing his ID, I would notify a supervisor and allow them to determine and decide if he is the exception to the rule. Because if they are wrong, they will be the ones who face the consequences, not you. It's hot potato. You pass the hot potato in security. Make it someone else's decision to make so that the consequences don't fall on you. They're a supervisor. That's what their job is. Let them do their job. Number 52, shoplifter. During your shift, a customer reports that they saw someone shoplifting. What steps should you take? Now remember, a customer told you they saw someone shoplifting. You did not see them shoplifting. What are the steps you should take? So, you generally aren't allowed to take action as either loss prevention or store security based on second or third hand account. You're generally limited to acting if acting is at all allowed by policy. It may not even be allowed for you to do anything, which is often the case if you witness the theft firsthand. I would thank the customer for reporting it, get a description of the alleged thief, and monitor them via CCTV or visually if possible to ascertain if they are indeed currently shoplifting, and I'd see it myself and I would follow up from there. As an additional precaution, you can document it and notify your immediate supervisor of the situation. Number 53, the argument. And this is something you're going to encounter several times as a security officer, at least if you're not in a completely warm body, empty site. So there's an argument between two individuals near the entrance. A crowd starts to gather. How do you handle this situation? This is the solution I would present. I would notify a supervisor or other guard for assistance if they're available. I would then approach and ask what the cause of the issue is. Regardless of the cause of the issue or the accusations flying about from either party, I would attempt to placate one of the persons involved and ask them to explain their side of the situation to get them away from the other person they're arguing with. I want them to explain to me the situation from their side, and they're more likely to do so if they feel that I'm on their side, even though the goal is to not take any sides. That's what placating means. You want them to think that they're on your side when really you're not taking any side at all. It helps to calm them down, and it helps to encourage them to go with you away from the other person. So you don't have full context, but you need to get them separated. And in my opinion, in my experience, that's the best way to do it. You don't want to have them explaining it to the situation to you in front of each other, because obviously the other person is going to say he's lying, and the person you're trying to talk to is going to say, no, he's lying. And there's a possibility if they're in arm's reach of one another, the situation can escalate to physical. Whereas if you remove one person at least from the location, at least there's a much less chance of it escalating to a physical altercation. So, number 54, the fire alarm. A fire alarm goes off and you're near an exit with a few people. What is your protocol? What is your approach? Your immediate goal is to direct the persons there to the nearest exit. What tends to happen is people will hear the alarm. They'll kind of look around quizzically, scratching their head. If you're visibly in security uniform, they'll appeal to you as a person of authority and ask you, hey, is that a real alarm? Or is that a drill? Is that a drill? Your goal is to tell them no, it is not a drill, and tell them to exit calmly and safely, preferably to a designated gathering point, assembly area. Otherwise, just get them out of the building, out of the way of the place where there is a potential fire. After that, I call it into dispatch or a superior, and if it's safe to do so, head to a fire alarm, either annunciator or panel, to determine the exact location and proceed from there. Number 55, the unauthorized. So, you are told by your dispatcher to investigate a suspicious person on your client's property, which is open to the public during the current hours. No other information is given besides a general description. In this case, male, white, average height, mid-50s, gray jacket, black pants. You see him. How do you proceed? So, you need to act with caution here, because generally you're allowed to act on a person's conduct, not their status. So a person is not suspicious. A behavior or activity by a person is what can be suspicious. If possible, ask the complainant, or in this case, the dispatcher, what behavior is suspicious exactly. Whether it is or isn't possible to gather more information, you need to observe first. You have to verify firsthand this person is behaving suspiciously or not. You don't want to be put into a situation where you're accused of profiling, especially not based on somebody else's prejudice. The dispatcher or the person making the complaint may have a prejudice against that person, and they're telling you to enact on that prejudice, which you don't hold, and you're going to be the one blamed if it's viewed as profiling. You can't then point to the person that gave you the complaint and said, well, he said he was suspicious, so I acted as if he was suspicious. No, that may be based on a prejudice of that person. So you need to find out firsthand whether it's violating a company site protocol or inappropriate behavior or disruptive behavior. So in my case, I would call into the dispatch or a supervisor and tell them of the situation, approach them. You need to introduce yourself as security so they know who you are, explain to them that the behavior they're exhibiting is inappropriate, a violation of policy, and if they cease, they need to leave. That's how I would approach the situation. Again, this is a very specific situation, so your mileage may vary. Again, that is about it for the 2025 update. Please like and subscribe for more guard guides. Check out my Etsy, my Beacons page, and my subreddit. Thanks again. Be safe.